Wherever you go in the world today, you encounter a familiar paradox. Countries and continents are in some ways closer than ever via high-speed transport, over instantaneous global communication. Despite these advantages, people are often farther apart. There is grave misunderstanding. There is tension between nations and peoples and ways of life. What can bind people closer together, help create a greater sense of commonality? The members of a unique student-run job exchange program called AIESEC believe the answer is work. AIESEC is the Association of International Students in Economics and Commerce. AIESEC offers its college and university members extraordinary and relevant experience. They may work overseas in 2 to 18-month traineeships, as well as practice the entrepreneurial and management skills needed to run their local chapters or even the national organization. AIESEC supports the companies that hire trainees by selecting highly qualified candidates who meet specific needs. AIESEC also provides many immigration, cultural, logistical, insurance, and tax services. Founded in 1948, AIESEC is more relevant today than ever, meeting the needs of corporations, educational institutions, and its students.
Today we are an organization existing in 69 countries that has maintained everything that we had in 1948 and through our evolution, but we're also now more geared towards the development of our people in some of the world's primary problems.
The AIESEC tradition flourishes today. Hundreds of universities in over 1/3 of all the countries of the world have AIESEC chapters. AIESEC has grown exponentially over the years because it works.
One would be very hard-pressed to think of one that was better than AIESEC, especially one in these current times when we're looking for ways to make our curriculum relevant to one's career opportunities.
The individuals bring market know-how, many cases, linguistic capabilities, multiple languages. On a longer-term basis, I think that they also bring the benefit of well-prepared individual trainees that can address some of the market needs of today's offshore markets and future markets.
I was group president of Mars Incorporated, and I therefore have some knowledge of the type of person that I would like to work with me. Having now joined the faculty at Georgetown and come across the students who are AIESEC members, to most of them I would now give desk space, because they're the sort of person who could be extraordinarily useful and have a very fulfilling life in industry. So it is particularly AIESEC, perhaps, that attracts that sort of person.
The reason you are here, and I think the reason I am here with you, is what excites me, and that is the study and the understanding of this world in which we live, and an attempt to better understand this world, because it is becoming a smaller place, and it's incumbent upon all of us to understand other cultures, other languages, and other people other than the ones that are here right at home base.
AIESEC's idealism takes practical forms. There is education through conferences and seminars.
It's one of the first things that would be hard for you to understand. The first thing you do when you go to Saudi Arabia is you leave your passport with the person or the company or the entity that is responsible for you. And you can't get out of the country until not only is that passport given back to you, but given to you with an exit visa.
There is hands-on experience in responsible traineeships.
I worked for the Reserve Bank of Australia. I was working in their Overseas Economics Conditions Department, and I was monitoring the economies of China, New Zealand, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Singapore, and South Korea. It was an economic baptism by fire.
The association works to develop students into business leaders who view other nations and markets from a global perspective.
We've all learned that we really have to think globally, but we have to act locally and understand each country's economy, their culture, the way that business gets done there, the political infrastructure, and so forth. And so it's a challenging task.
AIESEC traineeships are reciprocal. A national AIESEC committee can send only as many of its students on traineeships overseas as its country's businesses provide for trainees from other nations.
It is truly a confederation of national organizations which have a great deal of autonomy and decide their own fate. And that is certainly my idea of how Europe ought to be organized, how the Soviet Union ought to be reorganized. So that is actually what attracts me to AIESEC.
AIESEC delivers its services through a totally student-run organization.
Policy is a three-phase approach where a school that is interested in AIESEC sends a letter into our national office, and then we have an opportunity to send them out information packets.
We have changed the insurance coverage. We have the corporation has a larger exposure in the event of a large claim.
It truly does develop its leadership, and it develops us to be in touch with the fact that our world is not just the United States, that it's a global world.
The distinguished corporate members of AIESEC's board of directors offer guidance, but it is the students who manage.
When I went to my first AIESEC board meeting, I was extremely impressed with the quality of the talent that I saw sitting around the table. I had certain expectations about what a student board would function like, and I'm pleased to tell you that none of those expectations were satisfied. In fact, the board was professional, they were mature in their outlook, they were articulate, they dealt in a business-like manner with one another and with the corporate board members, and overall I left that meeting feeling that this was an extremely well-run organization that had high-quality people that are dedicated, motivated, and I felt extremely confident about the future success of AIESEC because of the quality of the board members.
What AIESEC does is provide, while going to college, an environment to practice business, and as importantly, to get to know business people, to draw from some role models in areas that they're interested in, so that when and if they decide to start their businesses, they're much more successful.
AIESEC has had an immeasurable impact on its participants over the decades.
It has become a very major part of my life, and something that I don't know where I'd be without it.
Eve Blaine worked with us here at AT&T as what would loosely be referred to as a summer intern. And it was more of an experience and more of a value added than I expected. Eve, if he, and I believe he does, typifies the AIESEC interns, was a self-starter, fit right in very rapidly with the culture, with the mission. I would absolutely be more than interested in the AIESEC program and another AIESEC intern.
I got not only a good professional experience, but also a really, really interesting social experience. I made really good friends, and I can assure you it's for life.
If I were to think of one thing that typifies AIESEC more than anything else, and we've heard of all of these good intentions and goodwill, it's fun.
It's an African song. We should tell them that.
Sure.
Tiki tiki tamba. Tiki tiki tamba.
I love AIESEC. It's the only organization I've found that you can really get practical marketing, leadership, PR experience.
My approach is to go out and live what I've gotten from AIESEC and what AIESEC has to offer.
It reminds me of the saying that, a quotation from H.G. Wells. And he said, civilization is a race between education and catastrophe. And AIESEC is helping to win that race more than any other organization that I'm aware of.
Efficient, educational, and even inspirational, AIESEC offers something special to everyone, which is probably why there are so many opinions on what AIESEC is.
AIESEC is one of the most complementary experiences you can have to a university education.
AIESEC to me means that there is a world that exists outside Australia.
AIESEC is an incredible learning experience.
AIESEC is excellence.
International understanding.
Different people working together.
Cooperation.
Developing global leadership.
Opportunity.
AIESEC is people.
AIESEC is people working to make a world that we can all live with and having a great experience along the way.
AIESEC is learning to do the things right and learning to do the right things.
AIESEC is our future.
In the end, it seems AIESEC is whatever its members and sponsors need it to be, a flexible, idealistic, and enjoyable phenomenon in the changing world of global business today.
Wouldn't it be neat if one day, in the heat of an argument, somebody got up and mentioned what they had learned while they were in school in some international organization called AIESEC, that we should all sit down and talk, and if the majority of the other leaders at the table said, yeah, I remember that lesson too from AIESEC, and everybody sat down and instead of starting a war, they found a treaty.